Simon, tell me what is the place. Tell me when you might be interested for it. Is it Montreal? Is it Longueuil? I'm gonna catch up on that after reading this one. Commenting on this one. Let's go for case number 2. Am I the asshole for telling my wife our daughter is more important than she is? As said earlier, been a time where I would have died for my wife. Okay. And now that we have a baby, if we are in a risky situation and I have to save either one of the two, that like the baby's already born. If my wife is giving birth and I have to choose in between the incoming baby or the wife, I choose the wife. I can make more baby with the wife. And I don't want to have the 2 babies just for myself. It's the kind of the thing that you want to share with her, you know, for your mental health. Ask your girlfriend for Friday. Okay, let me know. And our daughter is turning 18 in October. At that point, no. Okay, sorry. Go back what I just said. At that point, no. I hold protection to my baby. But when she's 18, like, you're an adult now. You're a full grown ass. So live yourself. She's a great kid, always pulled straight A's. Never in any type of trouble, and she's very respectful. My wife recently decided to have a talk with her about adult responsibilities. I had no knowledge of this conversation until my daughter came to me crying because she was scared about living on her own. Well, gotta let them know, but let's see how it went. I was confused at first. Then she told me her mother said she needs to start looking for a job because she'll be expecting to get her own place after her birthday. I was appalled because we never discussed throwing her out at 18. When I confronted my wife, she said our daughter wasn't a child anymore and needed to are pushed to become an adult. I told her I was really baffled that she would exclude me from such a serious decision conversation. Honestly, it's something I already talked about with my wife, and I would strongly recommend you to talk about that for that kind of decision. It's something very important. If your kid is not going to school anymore, there's some way that you can like try to teach them adult responsibility, like having a job, being able to pay for your expense, maybe paying a small rent. Like, you're done with school, you're now a full grown ass adult, you're supposed to do what full grown ass adult are doing. So we're gonna ease the action, and that rent I would just put on a side count. And whenever they go away, like without telling them, I'll be like, okay, so here's everything we receive in rent. Back to you. Like, I don't want that money for making myself rich. I want that money to make sure that like they're not starting with nothing. And in all honesty, I paid rent a little to my parent, and if you just told me you can go out and have this amount of money to be able to buy the thing you really need, this would have made a huge difference in everybody, like not everybody, but like in my life, on how I would have been able to start in college and stuff like that. So maybe I would have been able to survive without doing 36 hours of job while going to college full-time plus. What you're doing full? No, you're not yet doing full ass grown adult things, Drag. So let's keep on going. I asked my wife, how does she expect our kid to make it on minimum wage, especially considering the rent is out of control in our area? Then she informed me she had planned for us to pay half her rent until she was 20. I asked her why she wanted our kids gone so bad. As argument intensified, I believe she slipped by saying she needed the space, her bedroom, for her art studio. Now this is wrong, okay? Like, it's basically, I want to kick her out because I need the room. How to say, I have 4 kids room in my home, and if we reach 4 kids, I'm gonna just like start streaming from the underground. What's the word? Le sous-sol, the basement. I'm gonna start streaming from my unfinished basement. Okay, like worst case scenario, they need that space more than I do. And it's gonna smell like shit, and we're still gonna survive, okay? So, and when Cedric will stop school, he will pay. Exactly, Simon. As simple as that. But like as said, there's a way to say that you keep that rent if you don't need it for very, very precise stuff, and you just give them back to them. In 20 years, your basement will be over. My basement will never be over, Simon. It's too small. I cannot close it. I cannot make it like a finished basement. So yeah, worst case scenario, maybe I could try to work myself a small room somewhere in the basement. It would be sad, but that would work. I mean, usable. It's usable. I have like a how do we call that? Cement slab. TV spot that should. Oh no, it's not going to be usable at that point. It's clearly never going to be usable at that point. I couldn't believe it. I told my wife if her hobby was more important than our daughter, she should be the one looking to rent. However, she took that as saying move out, but that's not how I meant it. I wasn't planning for her to rent more space for her studio and to leave our daughter alone. She didn't believe that's what I actually meant. Then she gave me the silent treatment for 3 days. I love it. Like, think about being an adult and having as your main way to fix problem, not to be conversating, but just to be giving like the silent treatment to people. Sound to me like what any kid should do, but not an adult. Our daughter, however, was still upset as she processed her mother wanting her out. Exactly. She realized moving out a rental meant she had to leave her 2 cats behind. She had these cats since she was a young child. That alone devastated her. She told me, I don't want to turn 18. I don't want to celebrate my birthday. I don't want to be an adult. I've just seen like the shitload of responsibility my mom want to like send on to me. I don't want to be an adult. Adulting seems bad. I picked the argument back up with my wife at that point. I said our daughter isn't moving out until she decides on her own term because she is more important than you or your hobby. Okay, like that's pushing it far. She looks done, and maybe in the heat of the moment, I didn't choose my word wisely. I couldn't bear to see our daughter so upset any longer. I don't want her struggling to make ends meet and not be able to follow her dream. The last thing I want for her is to feel rushed. As far as my wife goes, she's not talking to me at all, and she's been cold toward our daughter. How the hell can you have your own daughter and be like, I'm gonna be the worst mom for the next few days and not even feel sorry for what I'm doing, you know? Heard like a challenge, you need to make that basement now. And let's go check that. Like, okay, before we see the answer, understand what I have to say here. He's not the asshole, but he hasn't used the right word. She is the asshole. But yeah, she is the asshole because she's doing that for just like the how to say this. She's doing this for very personal reason that are super unconsiderate. So in that kind of situation, OP's not the asshole, but could have used better word. Mom is clearly a little bit the asshole there, and they should try to think of maybe alternate way of making her learn about responsibility. One of the option, and I know it would be like a lot of change for the whole fam, but let's say they change place. It costs $200 more per month, and they just ask the young adult to be there, and she's gonna have a room, and she has to pay rent, like $200 to make the difference. I guess like maybe if they went and inflated very fast those prices for the apartment in that place where they're living, $200 would not cover that. So I don't know, like her hubby better pay, reorganize the home, reorganize the living room. Okay, they have 1 kid. This is what I understand in that thing. It's not clarified, but I'll suppose they have 1 kid. Reorganize the living room, make half the living room for her art studio. Like, I have a living room. It's a place where I play video games on a big TV with my wife or watch TV, and we put our office right there because we needed space and we needed her to be able to not be overheating because she's pregnant at the moment with our second coming child. So there's a way to make everyone happy in that situation, and instead of trying to like communicate to find those solutions, they look like they're trying to dodge the real question by, I don't know, giving themselves cold stare and not speaking with each other for 3 days. So bad wording here. He's not the asshole. Like, everybody's gonna be okay with that. Like, not the asshole your wife is, clearly. While 18 may be very well be the age you become an adult, 18 is not an age where most people are prepared to live on their own. Your wife is absolutely the asshole because she should have had a conversation with you before. Absolutely. You make those kids together, you're supposed also to kind of take some decisions that are going to be affecting their life and yours together. Talk more, people. Like, here's the problem that I have with Am I the Asshole? And it's also a good thing to some point. 90% of the case would be like, have you tried talking? Like, have you tried communicating with a person? The problem would just fix themselves. Unless we have to deal with, like, how do we call them? A narcissistic people or entitled people. Out of those very rare cases, most of the time it's just like, have you tried talking? Have you tried, like, seeing other ways of fixing the problem instead of just like making it go bigger? And most of the time, like, we have a situation that is mid-run and that could be fixed if people were just sitting at a table and be like, I don't like that. Could we find a solution together?